Ever pondered about the life of the most infamous gangster in American history, Al Capone? Picture the roaring 20s, jazz, flappers, and the birth of modern America. But beneath the glittering surface, a dark underworld was taking shape, and at its helm was a man named Al Capone. Capone, a name synonymous with crime, corruption, and brutality, was not just a notorious figure, but a symbol of an era. As the boss of the Chicago outfit, he was the face of organized crime in America. His empire was vast, his influence far-reaching. He was a paradox of sorts, a ruthless mobster who was also a modern-day Robin Hood to some. His name made headlines, his actions sparked controversy, and his legacy continues to perplex us today. His life was not just a tale of crime, but a reflection of a society grappling with rapid change. So, who exactly was Al Capone, and how did he ascend to such notoriety? Al Capone's life of crime began much earlier than you might expect. Born in Brooklyn, New York in 1899, Capone was the son of hard-working Italian immigrants. However, the lure of the streets was too strong for the young Capone, who found himself drawn into the world of street gangs at an early age. These weren't your run-of-the-mill street urchins either. Capone's early affiliations read like a who's who of New York's underworld, and it was here, in the back alleys and hidden corners of Brooklyn, that Capone met the man who would become his mentor, the notorious gangster Johnny Torrio. Under Torrio's tutelage, Capone began to understand the power of organized crime, learning lessons that would prove invaluable in his future career. The streets of Brooklyn were a harsh teacher, but they shaped Capone into the criminal mastermind he would become. Al Capone's rise to power was as swift as it was ruthless. When Capone moved to Chicago in the roaring 20s, the city was a hotbed of crime, corruption, and opportunity. It was here that he found his footing in the underworld, aligning himself with the notorious Chicago outfit, a powerful Italian-American organized crime syndicate. Capone was not a man to wait patiently in the wings. He was ambitious, cunning, and ruthless, qualities that quickly saw him climb the ranks of the outfit. His business acumen, combined with a propensity for violence, made him a force to be reckoned with in the gangster-ridden city. Capone had a knack for identifying and exploiting opportunities, whether they were in the illicit alcohol trade during the Prohibition era or in the numerous illegal gambling dens scattered across the city. As Capone's power grew, so did his notoriety. His name became synonymous with the dark underbelly of Chicago, his reputation bolstered by tales of his brutality and extravagance. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre in 1929 is perhaps the most infamous event linked to Capone. Although he was never officially tied to the crime, it's widely believed that Capone orchestrated this brutal assassination of 7 members of Chicago's North Side gang. This was a clear message to anyone who dared to challenge his authority. Capone was not a man to be trifled with. Capone's life was not all violence and fear, however. He was known for his charm and charisma, traits that helped him cultivate a certain public image. To some, he was a modern-day Robin Hood, a man who took from the rich and gave to the poor. To others, he was a ruthless gangster, a man who would stop at nothing to maintain his power and influence. Capone's reign was brutal and bloody, leaving an indelible mark on the city of Chicago. His story is a stark reminder of a time when organized crime ruled the streets, and the law seemed powerless to stop it. Capone's downfall was as spectacular as his rise. The year was 1931, and the law finally caught up with the infamous Al Capone, not for his notorious bootlegging or even his violent crimes, but for something as mundane as tax evasion. Yes, the man who had once been untouchable was taken down by the very thing everyone else abided by: taxes. A relentless pursuit by the federal government led to Capone's arrest. His trial was a spectacle, capturing the attention of the nation. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation as years of Capone's criminal activities were laid bare. The verdict: guilty. Capone was sentenced to 11 years in federal prison, the harshest sentence ever given for tax evasion at the time. A stark contrast to his former life of luxury and power, Capone was now just another inmate. While behind bars, Capone's health began to deteriorate. It was during his time at Alcatraz, the notorious island prison, that the effects of a disease he contracted in his youth began to show. Syphilis, a silent predator, had been slowly eating away at his health. The once formidable gangster was reduced to a weak and disoriented man. His mind, once sharp as a tack, was ravaged by the disease. Despite attempts to seek early release on the grounds of his failing health, Capone served nearly 8 years of his sentence before being paroled. But by then, the damage was done. The last years of his life were spent in seclusion, a far cry from his days of ruling Chicago's underworld. Capone's downfall was a stark contrast to his meteoric rise. The man who once commanded an illicit empire was brought down not by his enemies, but by the law and his own failing health. His story serves as a stark reminder of the cost of crime. It teaches us that no matter how high one rises, the law and nature have their own ways of restoring balance. From the heights of power to the depths of imprisonment, Capone's fall was a stark reminder of the cost of crime. Al Capone's life was a flurry of violence and power, but what legacy did he leave behind? His story is one that has been etched into the annals of American history, a tale that serves as a stark reminder of the lawless days of Prohibition. Capone's life and crimes had a profound impact on American society and culture. His reign of crime, although short-lived, set a precedent for organized crime and its relationship with society and law enforcement. Capone's influence extends beyond the realm of history and into popular culture. He is a character that has been immortalized in countless films, books, and television series, often portrayed as a ruthless gangster wielding unprecedented power. His story serves as a grim reminder of the destructive power of unchecked ambition and the inevitable downfall that follows. In this way, Capone's legacy is a cautionary tale, a narrative that illustrates the repercussions of a life lived outside the law. Al Capone, a name synonymous with crime and power, continues to intrigue us even today. Al Capone's life was a saga of power, crime, and eventual downfall. Born into an Italian immigrant family in Brooklyn, New York, Capone's life took a turn towards the infamous when he joined small-time gangs in his youth. It was here that he earned his nickname, Scarface, a moniker that would follow him throughout his life and beyond. His path to notoriety truly began when he moved to Chicago. Capone was drawn to the city by the promise of power and wealth during the Prohibition era, a time when the sale of alcohol was illegal, but the demand was higher than ever. He quickly rose to prominence, taking control of the illicit liquor trade, and ruled with an iron fist, showing no mercy to those who dared to cross him. Capone's reign was marked by a blend of terror and charm. He was known for his violent methods, including the infamous St. Valentine's Day massacre, where 7 members of a rival gang were brutally executed. Yet, he was also a master of public relations, often seen giving to the needy and presenting himself as a modern-day Robin Hood. However, like many before and after him, Capone's rise to power was followed by an inevitable fall. His downfall began with his conviction for tax evasion. The man who once ruled Chicago's underworld was reduced to an inmate at Alcatraz, his health deteriorating due to syphilis. Even after his death, Capone's legacy continues to intrigue and captivate. His life has been the subject of countless books, films, and television series. It's a tale filled with ambition, violence, and a desperate grasp for power, a stark contrast to the American dream. In the end, Capone's life story is a cautionary tale about the cost of unchecked ambition and the pursuit of power at any cost. His life serves as a stark reminder of the allure and danger of unchecked power.